student wishing to go back, doing something that I wanted to do for years now. My undergrad is good enough that I'm, 3 years away from having this all completed, as long as I get through. But I've always been the type of student too, like I can do this on my own, and on a whim, because I think with COVID, having this clarity of spending all this time by yourself and figuring things out in life, I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it now. So along with a lot of other people, I feel like the numbers are very high this year. But doing it on my own wasn't enough. When I studied on my own, I took my first LSAT in February and I bombed it, did 10 points less than what I'm doing on my practice tests. So that's what pushed me into signing up for something that was affordable. So picking your classes obviously was important to me because of that. And I don't have the money to spend thousands on, some of these other programs that are out there. So I really appreciated that. But now I have until June to my last attempt to be able to make this happen before September, where I'm applying. So I'm wondering if we could talk a little bit about how much time you think that I would invest to make this happen in a month. I'm a quick learner. Usually, again, doing things on my own. I speak multiple languages just from immersing myself in those types of environments. So I'm not afraid to immerse myself. But what do you think about how much time I should put in to see at least a 10 to 15 point jump? From here until June. Like if you can explore that a little bit.
Absolutely. I mean, I wish I could tell you it was simple as put in 1 hour, get 1 point, something like that. But unfortunately, it's not quite so precise. Breakthroughs and insights can come at any point. You will get out what you put in, but we can't calibrate it quite that exactly. So let me ask you this, rather, how much time do you have available to invest per day or per week over the next month?
Yeah, I have several hours per day. I work for myself, so I've adjusted my schedule to make this happen. Literally today, deleting social media off my phone to kind of eliminate time sucks and get really serious because I really, really want this. And I think my ego of how quick I can pick things up was a huge, I guess, blow to my ego when I took the LSAT the first time. I mean, I got a 142. And even to be considered, and my practice test, I was doing about 155, which without any studying at all, I thought, that wasn't so bad. So I need to study, and I never had to do that before. And so obviously so I don't know, if my nerves, that's something very normal for me when it comes to test taking, but to do so poorly in comparison to what my practice tests were, I don't know why. But yeah, I have lots of time.
That's fantastic to hear. I mean, I sense your dedication. I sense that you're highly capable. You have the aptitude for this. Just put in the time. The risk I see you more potentially running into is that of burnout, not of doing too little. I sense your dedication. I sense your energy around this. You really want it bad, I can tell. And you have hours per day to put in. So I would say, what if 4 to 6 hours a day could be enough?
Yeah.
The question is, how do you use those 4 to 6 hours?
Yeah. All right. So ideally I'm looking to spend about 3 hours every morning, based on my family structure and my free time. Realistically speaking, I am looking to put in 3 hours every morning, for this. So in my area of struggle, which I didn't really realize is not in the games, which that's the easiest place to improve, I've been told, is in the reading comprehension, the long reading pieces. And I don't know if you can recommend some of the pieces in your course that are going to talk about the vocabulary that I'm looking for and the quick cues to know, like when you see this, it's this, or when you see this, it's not this. Because I feel like that's one of my areas, as I'm going and trying to be quick, I'm overlooking, my focus is overlooking those cue words, I guess.
Gotcha. Yeah, for sure. So in the Reading Comp foundational section of the course, there are quicker bite-sized lessons that cover it specifically, indicator words and such. And then in the workshops section of the course, we have the full-length class recordings, the deep dive sessions, where you'll actually see those words called out in the context of actual passages. And then we have the Reading Comp live classes every week as well, Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, reading comp deep dive. So you can attend live in class, ask your questions there too. If you can't make it live, there's always the recordings later.
Yeah. Yeah. I plan on doing that. Starting to attend almost all of the lives just to hear the conversations. Okay. In your experience, what's been the largest jump you've ever seen in such a short time?
It's hard to think of just one. I mean, 20 points can happen. I wouldn't expect miracles. And I don't even think that what other people do, though, should be indicative of what you can do.
Yeah.
If you can put in 3 hours in the morning every single day or most days and you're dedicated, that's what matters most of all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you could also do more than 3 hours in the morning. I mean, can you carve out an hour or two in the afternoon or in the evening?
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to, but if you can, that'd be nice.
Yeah, sure. Well, the evenings, especially for the live classes, that will be in addition to the 3 hours that I can take out in the morning. So that's my plan. Just to hear other people's questions. Sometimes it sparks, different things for me. So I'm applying to Syracuse, and that's nowhere near where I need to be for them at all. And I already had submitted my application and everything, and they wrote, obviously I got the decline. I would never anticipate getting in with a 142 into Syracuse. My overall GPA was pretty high from that, so that helps. When you look at the grids, I'm in the risk area, but there is potential to be in certain places. But because of my family commitments where I reside, Syracuse is ideally what I'm looking for. But they pretty much told me that, okay, take it again in June. There was a mistake that I made on the application, and I clicked that I wanted it to be reviewed now instead of later. Yeah, so I was like, that's a huge mistake on my part, but they did say that, should you see an increase in your score, email us back and we'll consider. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess this call I scheduled a long time ago, and my hope was that I would be more in aligned with where I wanted to be, thinking that I knew it all. And now I'm, I guess, not sure how to approach it other than just signing up and doing something,
I hear you. Well, you don't need to know how to do it all. I mean, there's nobody who gets perfect 180s every single time, but there's a lot that you can do in this next month or so. And it's really a month and a half if you think about it. In June, else that's mid-June. We're speaking now in late April. So you've got some time, and 3 hours every morning is fantastic. Attend the live classes in the evenings as well. What if that could be enough? The question is, again, what do you do during this time? So if reading comp is an area you've noted as a particular area of struggle, how can you change the nature of your prep to analyze those passages in depth where you can pick up on the keywords more consistently?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's like hopeful. Just, I don't know. I guess hearing someone else talk about it, it's like, okay, it's possible. Because it's very intimidating. After that happening, when I got the score, I was just like, wow, like the rug was pulled out. All right. I don't know if there's anything else. I don't have any questions off the top of my mind. Are the concerns that I have pretty standard? Like, are there things that you hear from other people?
They are. These are incredibly common concerns. I just think of the sense that you're dedicated, you want to put in the work. And so it's natural to be concerned. That concern can be part of what fuels this. But I also want to invite you to channel that energy in very specific targeted ways. So you will do X number of passages every morning, X number of questions every morning, or you will engage in the review process specifically on these kinds of questions in this exact way. My course shows you how. We walk through that review process live in class. You can see it when you attend live each week. You can also watch the recordings of the previous ones as well to kind of catch up on what you may have missed, and that will give you insights into new ways you can approach the problems.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you can change the nature of what you're doing, then you can see a big score increase because you're applying a different methodology that will help you gain different kinds of insights. But go ahead, please.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think even when I sat down to take the LSAT, because the other part, I thought because I read that logical reasoning was going to be the biggest, or the logic games was going to be the biggest area I can improve on. I really focused on that before, just playing around with the games. It reminded me of like Quizzles in high school, I really loved that kind of stuff. So it was, the thing I did. So then when I got to the reading comprehension, those big blurbs, and they give you the option to highlight, I'm like, damn, I don't even know what to highlight, and that was a big cue to me, like, wow, even though I made it through those sections in time, I wasn't looking for the right things. And the cue words. So I was picking questions that I thought were the most realistic, but without even paying attention to what the words were. So I'm really excited to be able to dig around in there and know that there's potential. That you mentioned something now though, as far as practice books and practice tests and stuff, how many should I have in my, I guess, stockpile of tests to continue to have this much work to do in a month? Like, do I need to go out and buy like 10 more books right now? Or is having I have a waiver, so I have the access to the Kaplan stuff on the LSAC, and I have a big, thick practice test book. Like, how many more things do I need?
There's nothing else you need. I mean, if you have the waiver, then you should have access to Law Hub for free, which has not all, but the majority of the practice tests online in the same style you'll have on test day. I'd practice with those.
Okay.
Have you been on there, the Law Hub, where you get the official LSAT Prep Plus?
I haven't been on there as much as I should. And even with the waiver, I mean, it's embarrassing to say that, but it's true that I came in with the mindset that I don't need to work, I need to work a little bit, but I invested very little time in preparing, and now I'm cramming. So, which I'm capable of cramming. I can definitely see when I get tired and when it's time to stop, but yeah, so I will explore more in there. Yeah. I just want to challenge the use of the word cramming in particular here, because this isn't an exam that you cram for. Yeah. That's not to say that you can't do a lot in a short time. You can do a lot in a short time, especially if you just change. And for example, in reading comp, if you change how you approach reading comp in particular, you could see a big increase just from changing what you're looking for, as you said, noting those indicator words. But I also want to make sure that you're fully using what you have available. And that's both my course with the live classes, watching all the videos, but on top of that, just using Law Hub to get accustomed to the exact look and feel you'll be experiencing on test day. When you talk about books, like, you don't need any other books. You should be spending very little time, if any, using physical books, because the exam's online and you want to get used to, for example, you mentioned highlighting. How does the highlighting tool work? Do you like the highlighting tool? Maybe you can underline instead. Maybe you can just make notes on your scratch paper. And so getting used to exactly how you're going to work with the passage material is incredibly important. Sometimes that matters more than the actual content, surprisingly. Yeah. Okay, that was good. That's good. Yeah, I feel like I have access to a lot of tools that I don't even realize too, because I haven't taken enough time to dig around. So, all right, great. Well, I guess this is the 15-minute.
Well, sure, but are you feeling complete? Are there other concerns or questions you have?
I mean, yeah, I think now at this point, it's over analysis paralysis. I can ask all the questions I want. I need to get started and really commit to, like you said, a certain amount of passages or whatever it looks like for me to start to transition the way I'm going to do this for the next time versus what I did before. So
fantastic. Yeah, you've got it, Heather. And look at the mastery dashboard in the foundational section of the course. It's one of the very first things. That also gives you some orientation in terms of how you can think about structuring your time. So again, look at tracking things like the number of questions you've completed, the number of videos you've watched, the number of classes you've attended, looking at your lead and lag indicators to see what exactly are you putting in and are you focusing on the right things?
Yeah. Okay. Great, Steve. Thank you so much for this.
My pleasure. Of course, Heather. Great connecting with you, and I'll see you in class.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.